Hi, this is April Sadowski from Edge Webware, and you're watching a free video on an introduction to WordPress. This video is going to highlight how to set up WordPress and navigate through the backend in a default installation. Now, the first thing we're going to go to is WordPress.org to download the current WordPress files. If you go to the initial screen, you'll see the latest WordPress version. Now, there's actually two different types of WordPress. There's WordPress.org and WordPress.com. And I'm just going to explain it real quick. WordPress.org is a self-hosted version that you maintain yourself, and you have full control over it. So this tutorial is geared towards that version. WordPress.com is more for the average Joe that just needs a blog or simple site and doesn't want to get much out of it other than that, because you can't install plugins or make many modifications. So once you click this button, you'll be redirected to the download screen, which is the screen. You'll see two different versions of the files. One's a zip, one's a tar. It's just a file size difference for the most part. And zip is the default, so I'll go ahead and click that. Now, some hosts have one-click installs, but I recommend those only if you're very uncomfortable with setting this up yourself, because I typically add in some extra protocols. Now, there are two common ways to extract the zip file onto a server. One is to upload the zip directly to your server through FTP and then use the server control panel or shell to extract the archive for you. And the server extraction literally takes a few seconds, so if you have the ability to do that, I'd recommend that's what you do. Another is to save the contents of the zip onto your computer and then transfer them in bulk through FTP. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the files on my local machine in a directory I'll use for development. And then once those files are created, we're going to go ahead and start the installation process. Now, I've used XAMPP to set up my development environment, and you can look at the blog post from the Edge on our company site. It'll show you how to make a URL pattern similar to this. So instead of localhost, you have something nicer. Now you'll see here the very first screen for the WordPress installation. They've added this in the latest version of WordPress, WordPress 4.0. So you have additional localization options. And this is just so you have the installation with directions in your native language. Now on this screen, I'm just going to put the database information that I have already set up in PHPMyAdmin. Now we get down to table prefix. The thing about this is, by default it's WordPress. I would suggest that for security reasons you change this to something else other than WP. It's good if you anticipate additional WordPress installations or a multi-site environment with a shared database. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to test. Now on this screen, we'll see the site title, which I've already filled out here, and we will set up our first administrator account. Now, for security purposes, I recommend that you don't use the generic admin, something unique. And also, if you're going to have multiple administrators, then I would recommend that each user has their own unique administrative account. And it just definitely helps when you have a lot of people working on the site. That way you can keep track of who's doing what. In our password field, we have an indicator down here that tells us how strong our password is, and it will change as you adjust your password. And there's a hint on how to make it stronger right here. Upper, lower, alphanumeric. And then the email is the default for the entire site, as well as the email address for this particular user account. And basically, the admin email is used for notifying on registrations and comments by default. You can override those. And you can also override the admin notification email as well. Now for privacy, I recommend that you uncheck this if you're working in a live environment on a server that has access to the internet, so spiders won't search your site while you're trying to build it. And then we just click install and log in, and we've got WordPress installed and running locally.